somewhere around 2000, Dr. Dellon from Johns Hopkins Medical School was giving a lecture on his novel approach at that time for decompressing nerves of the lower extremity. He had a patient in 1980s who had diabetes, also had ulnar nerve compression at the elbow and carpal tunnel at the wrist, and he resolved her problem by surgery. She said to him, Dr. Dellon, why don't you fix my legs? And Dr. Dellon said, well, that's a different disease. But he thought about it and he pondered that and he went to the laboratory, which he had the resources at Johns Hopkins and the Curtis Hand Center, by the way, in Baltimore, Maryland. So he had rats that he experimented on, put ink on their paws, made them diabetic, put bands around their nerves, and did all the experiments that proved that diabetic neuropathy is a compression neuropathy. That's a very novel idea in 1984 when he first published his paper. I had the fortune to understand what he was saying with the lecture that he gave in about 2000. And I went up to him after his lecture and I said, why doesn't anybody know about this theory? Well, he says it's new. It's still kind of in the laboratory setting. But if you'll come down to Johns Hopkins and I'll teach you that theory. But first, you must read my textbook, which I did. And it's a beautifully done textbook on peripheral nerve surgery. I read that, not fully understanding what he said at that point, because I really couldn't see what he was doing. And when I got to Baltimore, I scrubbed in with him and he performed a nerve decompression with 3.5 magnification. This is key to the understanding Dr. Dellon's theory. Without the magnification at surgery, you cannot see what he's talking about. And as the saying goes, that I cannot see what the brain cannot understand, and vice versa. And that was a seminal moment for me in that eureka moment that I saw the compression that sugar causes. And that was a seminal moment for me. I came back to Scottsdale. I was one of the founders of the Wound Care Center at Honor Health, and I introduced that procedure to my patients. The first patient that I performed that surgery on was another seminal moment, and I'll tell you about that in a few minutes.